Hey everybody, Jack Rita with Future Pastimes, and in this video I want to talk about the custom spice cards that I've made for my custom version of Dune. I've got a little case for storing them. I also have some special ones that I will cover in a separate video. Now the reason that I have custom spice cards is that I also have a custom playmat of the Dune playing board, which I will also cover in a separate video. And that is a bit of a hybrid between the classic Dune board and the one from Dune Conquest, aka Movie Dune. And there are a few differences between those boards. They're definitely very similar, and you can see that the Dune Conquest board is clearly inspired by the classic Dune game board. But the differences are, one, we made the really small territories on the classic Dune board bigger so that you can fit your forces in there. So like Wind Past North is a larger territory, and some of the ones sort of to the east of Arrakeen, a little bit bigger as well. The second is that the Dune Conquest board does not have Rimwall West, which is that really narrow strip that is adjacent to Arrakeen on the classic board. But I have that back on my custom board. And then the third difference is that the Dune Conquest board has some more spice blows in it. And so I have added those as well. And one of the main reasons that I've done that is because I like how in Dune Conquest the spice cards are all double spice blows. And the reason I like that is because I play Advanced Dune when I play Classic Dune. And in Advanced Dune, you do have two spice blows. But the way that's implemented in Classic Dune is that you're flipping over two cards and you're keeping two separate discard piles. And it's a little bit wonky, and I don't necessarily like that. The other effect that that has is that you're more likely to have a Shai-Hulud card come up, which means you're having those nexuses occur very early. A lot of times, right on the second turn, which for me is just too soon. It's too soon for alliances. People need to go for it on their own a little bit, and then you form alliances after you have been rebuffed once or twice. So the other thing is that with the double spice blows, I feel like it weakens both the Atreides with their movement advantage, which lets them see the next card in the spice deck during the shipping and movement phase. But they're only seeing one card, and there's going to be two flipped over, which I always thought was kind of weird. And it also weakens the Fremen, I think, because the chances of them being in a territory that had a spice blow and then have a Shai-Hulud card turn up in the next turn is not super high. It's really hard for them to line that up and try to get to both of those, and in hopes that one of them will have a sandworm. But I think that that is solved a little bit with this solution, and here's why. So like I said, every spice blow is actually a double spice blow. So you're only going to be turning over one card when you're using this spice deck. That means that Atreides is going to have more information about everything that comes up. There's going to be, no like, well, I didn't know that that was going to turn up. They are going to know, and they're going to know both of the spice blows. And they can use that to influence where they want to go. It increases their chances of being able to get to one of those spice blows on that turn, so that when it does show up in the following turn, they're already there. So I think that helps out. The other is that I think it does make the Fremen a little bit stronger, because there's going to be two spice blows, and that means that if a sandworm comes up, it's going to go to both territories. So yes, when you flip the next card in the following turn, and it is Shai-Hulud, if the Fremen have forces in both territories, that means they're going to get to ride two worms, and that is, I think, going to increase their strength and their maneuverability significantly. So this is the main driving force behind that. And so I'm super happy with this. I like to use these. And because it does have, I'll give you an example here. So this one, for instance, this is a spice blow right there that's not going to show up on classic Dune board game. Now, there's nothing to stop anybody from using these. It's just not going to have the little spice icon in that territory, but I think smart players can kind of figure it out. So one wouldn't need to have my custom playmat in order to use these cards. The other thing that I've done is I've kind of updated, and I use the word update in kind of an ironic sense, the sand trout card. And this card appears in the first expansion, the Ixians and Tleilaxu expansion. But I wasn't really crazy about the way that card ended up. I felt like it was more convoluted than it was supposed to be. So the effect here is fairly simple. It'll immediately end any alliances. So if there are any alliances, they're broken. It's an anti-nexus, which was the whole point of the Sand Trout card. And then it just says draw again until another Spice Blow card, and that's what these are. They're all called Spice Blows, is revealed, and you discard any Shai-Hulud cards that you draw until you get to a Spice Blow. And then you double that Spice Blow. So that's it. There's none of this, you set the card aside, and then you wait for another one, but if one you drew right away, you're still going to have the Nexus, but then the next one you don't. It just got more complicated than it needed to be. It was supposed to be a very simple concept. So I have updated the card to reflect that. It works for me. And, just some minor wording things. So I've got Nexus right there on the card. It lets you know, hey, there's going to be a Nexus. Not that any of us were likely to forget that. But again, I like the double Spice Blows. And in a lot of them, it's the same amount, but not all of them. So here you've got, 6 spice there, Wind Past North, and then 8 spice down there in Cialgo East. And yeah, those are my custom spice cards. So let me know what you think of this system. It's it's a little bit of a hybrid between basic and advanced. You're only flipping over one card. Because that there are the double Spice Blows, there are fewer territory cards overall. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 9. That means that you're going to do a reshuffle if the game goes 10 turns. But it also means that you're more likely to have Shai-Hulud come up. So the frequency with the double Spice Blow, I felt like the Shai-Hulud cards were coming up too soon. On the single Spice Blow, if you're just playing basic, because of the number of territory cards in there, sometimes it takes a long time before Shai-Hulud comes up, and it comes up too late in the game. So I feel like I found the sweet spot here, but I'll have to play through it a few times just to kind of look for trends and see how it's working. But that's my theory, is that it will make for, on average, a game where you'll go a few turns, maybe 3, 4 turns, then you'll have a Shai-Hulud, and then you'll have Shai-Hulud come up again, maybe in another turn or 2 turns, so that people can switch their alliances or get everything you need out of the Emperor on the first one, and then break your alliance and join up with the Fremen to go for the win. Who knows? That's what I love about Dune, that you can have that happen. And so the frequency of Shai-Hulud is really what determines the likelihood of that happening. So again, let me know what you think of the idea. If you have any other ideas, I may add other custom cards to the deck just for fun, see what happens. I don't know if I'd add a second Sand Trout, but that's certainly a possibility. That's it for this video, a short one. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.